Good evening, everybody out there in YouTube. Once again, this is Reverend.
Theme here.
Greenhouse One.
We are the three middle-aged guys just bullshitting about nothing. We are going to start our week's video game news, all things that happen in the game, in the entertainment industry of video games. Not a lot of news this week, but a lot of things that turned out to be pretty interesting. Okay, earlier this week, actually, I believe on the, let's see here, on the 19th of this week, confirmation actually came from developers and from Sony themselves with specifications for the new PS4.5 or 4K, now codenamed the PS4 Neo, and specs have been released. You know, it's going to be a thing. We even have a manufacturer suggested retail price. It's going to be $399.99, $400, the same as the launch price of the original model PS4. Gentlemen, what are your thoughts on it? I know we've done videos on this before and we've covered this, but now it's actually coming from the horse's mouths that it's for real. Isn't this the same fucking response I get every time I ask that question initially?
Because how the fuck are we supposed to respond to something like that? It's just the fact that, okay, they're coming out with this new system and it's supposed to be, the specs are higher and it's supposed to be compatible with VR and shit like that. And it's like, look, the main problem with this is the games. Yeah. This is games and games developers. This is a situation that shouldn't be coming about, especially right at a fourth of the fucking console's lifespan. This console's okay. The PS4 has been out for what, 2 years?
It's almost 3 now. It's almost 3.
Okay, what, 3 this November?
Yeah.
All right, fine. For them to do this shit this quick and to try to improve on shit this quick on something that, okay, they should have already had insight on. Because if they were going to prepare for this, as far as bringing out VR and trying to make a system better and so on and so forth, they should have thought about this earlier. Now, this is going to screw with a whole lot, specifically games. And all right, make no secret, I have Shenmue 3 coming. Okay, so what are they going to do about that with this new PS4? Are they going to come out with this system and then this game is not, either it has to be upgraded or is it not going to be compatible with it, or is it going to cause problems? And then if the game has problems with it because of shit happening, motherfuckers are going to be like, you see, they didn't make it correctly. No, and it's like, wait a minute, you got this PS4 situation that you got to think about now, and it's like, fuck, man, not happy about that.
Yeah. Well, according to the article, all of the games going forward that are in development right now and that are set to be released are going to need to run on 2 different modes. One they call the base mode, which covers all of the current base PS4 hardware, and then a Neo mode, which covers all of the brand new Neo hardware, which boasts beefier processor, beefier CPU, beefier graphics processor, and faster RAM. Not more RAM, but faster RAM. So basically, any of the games that are in development that are set to release in the future, they should have those 2 modes in place already. In fact, according to the article, we should see those games showing up on shelves as soon as September of this year. So,
okay,
yeah. In fact, as far as that goes, if you've seen my video on my channel, I've made a video on it. My biggest issue with the Neo as it stands really isn't as a consumer, because like you, Theme, I don't have a PS4. All right, and with this news coming out, I'll wait even longer now to go ahead and pick up a PS4.
Mm-hmm.
The problem that I foresee is that in order for in order for developers to make sure that their older games, almost 3 years worth of library that they've went ahead and put out, are actually going to work properly with the Neo, they're going to have to go out of their way to patch those games and make sure that they have a Neo mode to go ahead and make them work. Now, for the developers that work with bigger publishers, maybe that's not going to be that much of an issue. It still presents an issue, like I mentioned before, because any patchwork, depending on the developer agreement with the publisher, might be seen as maintenance. And depending on their relationship with the publisher, they may not get paid for maintenance. All right? That's just something that was initially rolled into the initial core contract and expenses that they went ahead and they gave the developer to make the game. Now, the problem is, though, is that, like I said, you have to think about all the games that are already released, including all of the digital ones. What if you're a little indie developer who went ahead and published a game on your own, and now you have to go out and patch your game to make sure that it's running on the new hardware? These guys definitely don't get paid for that extra shit. All right, and they're dependent on that sort of thing. That sucks for them, you know. And the thing is that they don't have any recourse at all, because the folks who already have the game on the old hardware, guess what? They're not going to pay for it again, you know. But they're still expecting that update. You know, if they move on to the new hardware, they're still expecting that update. You know, like I said, it puts them in a horrible spot. Any thoughts on the Gray Mouse? Kind of just staring at the monitor there.
Well, you know, you guys haven't or don't own a PS4. I unfortunately do, and there's one, you know, Theory does as well, and we know other people that do as well. So it's like, fuck us. You know, we're the ones who, I didn't early adopt. I mean, it took me about 2.5 years to get me a PlayStation 4. But still, I should not be penalized for supporting or for getting a PlayStation 4. And that's what it feels like. You know, it's like, what about us? Even though, I mean, so if I was interested in getting the PlayStation VR, I'm out. I don't even qualify for that now because I don't have a powerful 4 to push what I want on the PlayStation VR. And it's really shitty thing to do to your customer base. Because, you know, one thing too is that big companies like Sony, Microsoft, Nintendo, all the above, it takes planning to put something like this out. And so that's telling me, or A, they did piss poor planning, or B, they had this in mind from the very get-go. They just wanted to see how much people would early adopt, so to speak, and then, you know, create this new, more powerful hardware for those that didn't. And it's really, to me, it's a really shitty thing to do. And then another thing too, like you mentioned before, the indie developers, you're really shitting on them because those are the guys that are making some of the greatest games, you know, is the indie developers, you know. And I'm very glad to see that. At first I wasn't on board with indie developers until I started seeing, you know, the games that they've been putting out in the last recent years. And in all honesty, some of the indie games are better than the AAA titles that are coming out. And that says a lot for the indie games. So then, like you mentioned before, Reverend, you know, you got this one indie company that self-published, that did everything. I mean, did the music, created everything, the game, you know, one-man show here. What about him? So those people that get new PlayStation, the PlayStation Neo, will not be able to play his game because he don't have the code to run it on the next I don't know, the upgraded PlayStation 4.
Now, I'm going to say right now that I'm not saying that that's going to be the case for sure, but I will say that if I'm pretty sure that we're gonna have to expect that all of the old games are gonna have to be patched if they're gonna expect to run on the new system. They're gonna have to at least do a pass on it as far as development goes. Okay. Now I'm gonna say something mean, and then I'm gonna follow it up with a bunch of truth. Okay. For the folks who were early adopters, that's the risk of being an early adopter. That's just how it is. All right. Because there's a reason why I don't buy consoles out right at launch, and it's not because something bigger and better is right around the corner, because there always is. All right. It's the fact that during that first year or two, you're free beta testing, you're free hardware testing for whoever the fuck the manufacturer is. All right. And based off your hardware's failures, that's going to be part of what they base their new stuff. All right. Now, the saving grace to what Sony has done is that they aren't excluding the early adopters. Okay, the games have to be compatible with the old hardware. All right, they have over 40 million units worldwide of the current PlayStation 4 hardware out there in the world. They would be stupid to disenfranchise those users wholesale. All right, that would be retarded on a Sonic Chaos level. Okay, all right, that would be extremely dumb. All right,
we've seen video game companies. Well, Sony's not a video game company, but we've seen companies do retarded shit in gaming before.
Yeah,
that's what I'm generally afraid of.
Yeah.
People, okay, you got Sony fanboys that are going to get this shit regardless. They're going to turn in their current PS4, and then they're going to get this. People are going to do this. But it's just the fact that, okay, as long as they make the games compatible for both fucking systems, I don't know how that's going to be smooth.
No, the way that they're going to do it is that they're gonna do it one of two ways. Either they're going to baseline develop it, where there's like everything is really developed for the base PS4, and then all they do is they have 4K assets or higher resolution assets to run on Neo, or maybe even not even higher assets, just more special effects like particle effects and other things that they can go ahead and turn on to run on the Neo. But the thing that you're really going to see, the big difference that you're going to see, especially on older games after they get patched, is, look, here's the thing. As you sit there, you compare the specs with a higher range CPU, a faster GPU, and faster RAM. The only thing it really translates out to is slightly higher frame rates, and more importantly, more stable frame rates. And that's really for 1080p or lower resolutions.
All okay. Right. See, all right. For people that have the current PlayStation 4s, what about the VR situation? Is VR going to handle being compatible to both versions of the PS4? Or
yes, but I'm going to say this right now: you're going to get the worst version on the base hardware. Okay.
That was my initial point. It's like okay. Or are they going to cut down for the original PS4? And it's like, all right, so for you to get the full capacity for this VR shit that you have to spend fucking 400 fucking bones for, you have to get the PS4 that it's compatible with.
Yes. Yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah. But as we've stated before, that's part of the cost of VR. Okay? Because let's just be honest. If you decide to go with an HTC Vive or an Oculus Rift, you're spending a lot more than that.
Wait. But another PS4 plus the VR, that's at least 800 bones.
If you're building a brand new PC to go ahead and run the Oculus Rift, right, you're spending 4 times as much.
Okay, fine.
Yeah. And that's not even including the cost of the Oculus Rift. All right? And that's one of the things. I mean, there's a couple.
Yeah, but 4K TV.
Yeah, I mean, even then, even then with the 4K TV, the thing about it is that you have top of the line like multi-card PC setups, like guys who are running multiple 980 Ti's, the 8 gig fucking cards that cost $800 a piece. You sit there, you run a game in 4K on full with all the fucking special effects turned on. That thing's gonna still fucking chug. You know why? Because they still haven't figured out how to optimize the game well enough to run at that fucking resolution. Okay, even with that $1,600 worth of hardware and fucking video cards alone, you're still gonna make it sweat. All right, you're hoping that, you know, I'm hoping that it's gonna hold 30 to 40 frames steady. All right, you're still not hitting 60 frames. Okay, a lot of people don't fucking realize that. So when it comes to, like I said, when it comes to the cost of VR, that's part of it. The other problem that we had with the PlayStation 4, and one of the reasons why this is kind of really significant, is that, you know, the 7th generation, instead of just being around for 5 years, it was around for pretty much 13. All right, almost 13 fucking years. Okay, and because of that, instead of there being another generation in between to see a much bigger leap that's going to be comparable to modern PCs right now, they went ahead, they did the generational step from wherever the generation was back. When the generation back was, like I said, over a decade old, you know, there should have been another generation in there, but the economy didn't have that in its plans. It didn't fit for that, you know. And that's kind of the thing that they had to step up from. All right. Not that it's going to make it easier for anybody else, you know. And unfortunately, for folks like Grey Mouse, it's like, it sucks knowing, hey, look, yeah, I can play this game. But, hey, if you're like me, where it's like, fuck, a few $100 more and I can go ahead and I can play this game at a much higher clip, much higher pace, it kind of hurts. You know, I know that from experience. All right, yeah. But it's coming out, and most likely it's going to be out by the end of this year. So that's just how that is. Any other thoughts on it, gentlemen?
For people that's just going to get a PS4 and just say fuck it, you know, at least the regular PS4s will be lower priced by the end of the year.
Yeah, and what's going to happen eventually is that hardware will get cheaper and cheaper. And then soon they'll decide to go ahead and discontinue ceasing all manufacturing for that hardware. And the only thing that's going to be on the shelves, which will be the new current hardware, will be the Neo version as they have it projected out.
So we have a new 3DS. We have a new PS4.
Yep. Let's see what Microsoft does, because they've been flip-flopping on that bullshit back and forth over the last 4 fucking weeks. All right.
We still don't know what the NX is going to do. It's just, man.
Yep, it's going to be interesting.
It's critical for video game systems right now as far as all the upgrades and what they're trying to do with VR. And, you know, we have zero information just about on a Nintendo system that's coming out. So this year, goodness, come on. You got to, I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, things are moving along pretty quickly. All right,